quorum.
Okay,
I saw Dr. Hara as well.
You're all here.
yeah, we're here. Okay, very good. Thank you. Got it. The recording is on. Good morning. This is the Board of Fire Commissioners meeting, a special meeting, Tuesday, August 17th, 2021, and the time is 9 a.m. Good morning to all of the people in the, I call it the horseshoe, who should be in the horseshoe, but there's no horseshoe. Good morning to all the commissioners, to the city attorney, Wynn, our executive assistant, Gomez, Chief Poria, Chief Everett, and anyone else who's under the sound of my voice. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so Letitia, do you want to go over the rules before we start talking?
Typically, they have me do it after roll call, Miss Ma'am.
Oh, after the roll call. Okay.
Yes.
Let's do the roll call.
What's Gray?
Here.
Babcock?
Present.
Hara?
Here.
Ibarra?
Here.
Ninberg?
Here.
You have a quorum. I'm
Very
sorry.
good.
I'm sorry. Fire Chief Terrazas in place of is Chief Poyer and Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen.
Present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Very good. Would you like to do the rules now? So we don't forget to do them.
Yes, ma'am. Just a note to all that are listening that the public comment period of the agenda has been moved, of the meeting has been moved to the beginning of the agenda. Please note that this will be both for agenda and non-agenda items. Thank you. Persons may listen to this meeting live by dialing any of the telephone numbers listed on the cover of the agenda for this meeting. Should you dial one of these numbers, you will be able to listen to the meeting, but will not be able to give public comment during the meeting. Anyone wishing to address the Board of Fire Commissioners on any item on the agenda prior to action by the board on that specific item or during general public comment should call 1-669-900-9128. When you are asked for a meeting ID, please enter 822-41-906350. Then press the pound sign again to continue. You will then be joined into the meeting. I'm sorry, I keep getting notifications on the chat. To alert the board that you want to give public comment, press *9 to raise your hand. You will be called on by board staff who may refer to you using the last 3 digits of the number you are calling from. When unmuted by staff, press *6 to unmute yourself and please state your name and the agenda item that you're speaking on. I'm going to add that today. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person for each item addressed. Time cannot be ceded to another speaker, and an individual may speak only once during any individual agenda item. Only those who are in the queue when the president begins public comment will be allowed to speak on an item. These instructions may also be found on the front page of the agenda. And just so everyone's aware, there is always a delay depending on how you're accessing the meeting, via the app or online or on phone and what have you. So I just want everyone to be aware of the same.
Okay, very good. Next item on the agenda is the flag salute and a moment of silence. Chief Poirier.
Thank you, Madam President. Please stand and place your right hand over your heart if you're able to do so. I pledge allegiance to the
to
flag
the flag of the
of
United States
of
of
America
America,
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty,
liberty
justice
and
for
justice
all.
for all.
Thank you. Please join us in a moment of silence in honor of past and present members of the Los Angeles Fire Department who devote their lives to the protection of our communities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ooh, thank you, Chief. And the next item on our agenda is commission comments. Are there any comments from the commissioners?
This is Commissioner Hara. I just want to mention that I
morning.
attended the memorial service for Henry Munoz. A very touching and moving ceremony in that he left behind a 20-year-old son and 2 teenage daughters. And just hearing their comments was just so moving. And then everyone kind of described Henry as someone who always had a big smile and everything. All the comments made about Henry were so positive. So they again commented on his big smile and his very hearty laugh. So. A great loss to the fire department. He passed away because he had cancer, and he died in his late 40s before reaching age 50.
Very young. Thank you, Dr. R. Are there other comments from commissioners? Oh,
Hi, I just want to.
oh, good
I wasn't
morning,
able to-
Commissioner
good
Barr.
morning. Good morning. I wasn't able to make the commission last week, a couple weeks ago. So I just wanted to congratulate you on your presidency. And I also wanted to welcome Commissioner Babcock to the commission. I also want to talk about some of the issues that have been covered in the newspaper in the last couple of weeks. Because one of the things that was mentioned was a request that I had made a representation to a number of people in the department that we would have the independent assessor do a report, an audit of the disciplinary cases with regards to substance abuse, looking at it through a racial angle. I understand that the independent assessor is currently otherwise just occupied with other audits that we've asked her to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask the department to give us a report of what those numbers look like from the department's perspective, just to gather that information in aggregate. What are the, from the last 10 years, like how many disciplinary cases have we had? Obviously not identifying any individuals because the report is going to be public. But doing just an aggregate kind of report about, how many people have we had go through disciplinary cases involving substance abuse. And by substance abuse, I mean both alcohol and drugs. And then have a breakdown by gender and by race. And then, as we always do with these reports, like the drill tower report that I asked for in 2014, and it keeps coming back, once we get that, we can ask more questions. That's the nature of our inquiry. So I'm happy to have that get started. So I've asked the department to do that, and they're gonna have a report to us soon. So thanks again. It's nice to be back and to see all of you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I support the request for that audit that you just mentioned. I'll talk to you more about it and get all the details so I can follow up on it and talk with the independent assessor and make sure that she has that on her list of things that she will complete for us, because it does sound like it would have interesting information that we might all want to hear. Thank you very much. Okay, are there other comments from other commissioners? No other commissioners? Okay. I'd like to offer my condolences to the family of Henry Munoz. It was a young person who we lost very early, and that was a sad thing. I did watch the video of the graduation of the divers, and it was really well done and very nice. And congratulations to the bureau chief and South Bureau for Villanueva. Chief Villanueva for the work that they did down there, because it looked, I really enjoyed the video, and I'm glad that they posted it so that people who could not attend would be able to see that. That was really, really good. And again, I want to mention that under general comments, public comments, we will have the general comments and the non-agenda item comments, and so that the audience can prepare for that particular part of the meeting. And I thank all of those people who called or sent congratulations on my election as president. I appreciate the support and the outreach, and the Sentinel did an extra special story, which was very nice and well put together, well written by the reporter who did the interview. And I think that for right now, that might be it. Did someone else have a comment?
I do. Yes. Oh. Sorry, Commissioner Woods-Gray. I didn't get a chance to congratulate you at the meeting properly. It was the very end, I slipped it in, and I just wanted to say congratulations to you and to Dr. Hara, and I look forward to working with you and your leadership team. So congratulations again. I loved the Sentinel story. That was fantastic. And it's an honor working with you. I also want to send my deepest condolences to the Munoz family as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all the support from the commissioners, because this is a team effort. It's not a one-woman show or one-man show. It's all of us working together with the department and all the department heads. And I look forward to working with everyone. The chief and I have already started a meeting, and we have a regular scheduled meeting. We will be meeting regularly, and then meeting with the other people within the department as we can get to them with the COVID situation that we have. But of course, Zoom seems to work really great, except the personal touch is, I'm kind of like a huggy person, and I always like personal, being there, looking you in your eyes, really seeing what you're doing and saying and thinking. But of course, we will make it work and continue to move our department in the direction that we feel is best for this department in a city of the angels. We hope to make everybody feel wonderfully welcomed and keep them committed to saving lives and working with the citizens of Los Angeles, as most of the members of this department are overly committed to the people of Los Angeles. It's so appreciative. And I love that when I go to a station to visit, how they really are dedicated professionals. And we hope to make sure that our meetings are professionally run, and that our speakers who speak at our meetings speak professionally, and that everything moves along in a very fine way that will make everyone proud of the city, of the fire department and the fire commission. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next agenda item. If there are no more comments from commissioners. Oh, also, this is a great time, commissioners, for you to say, if you want to add something to the agenda, just as Commissioner Ibarra did, she's already added that, and we just want to make sure that it's known, that everybody knows we're going to keep watching it. If you want to add something to the agenda, please make sure during the commissioner comment is a great time to speak up on issues that you wish to add to the agenda, so that we can start looking at what you would like to see on the agenda, because the agenda is made up right after the meeting. Almost everything keeps moving rather quickly. So just speak up, let us know what's going on. If you don't ask at the meeting, or you don't talk about your issue at the meeting, commissioners always email me. I'm sure Letitia, if she hasn't done so, she'll get a new list out to us of the, so that we can make contact with each other. So communication is most important. So let's keep it open and keep it going. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Now, on the consent agenda number 4, item number 4, I wish to separate
Madam
A and
President?
B. Yes.
Linda?
Yes, I'm here. Madam President, I believe you missed the report of,
Oh, I missed the public comment, huh?
no, there's the report of the fire chief as item 2 on the.
Oh, I skipped way down. My goodness, I sure did. Thank you very much, Ms. Nguyen. The report of the fire chief. Chief Poirier. The chief's not here. He's on vacation, but I didn't want to leave you out.
He says he's on vacation, but he's constantly in communication with us, so we don't feel like he's on vacation. Thank you.
I'm sure he's, I can just see that he's not a person that will probably know how to relax.
Right.
We hope
Thank you.
that he will learn.
Thank you for that. For the benefit of the group, Chief Deputy Al Poirier from Emergency Operations with a report back on behalf of our Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas. When members of the department commit any act of initiative or bravery deemed worthy of recognition, this information is referred to a Board of Honorary Awards subcommittee for evaluation and recommendations for appropriate recognition. On Tuesday, August the 10th, our Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas made notifications to the meritorious and honorary awards recipients for this year. And as has been mentioned a couple of times, firefighter Henry Munoz from Fire Station 107 was diagnosed in 2018 with job-related cancer. And on July 22nd of this year, firefighter Munoz lost his battle with cancer, and Fire Chief Terrazas, along with all the command staff and Commissioner Hara, attended Henry's memorial service on Thursday, August the 12th. Unless there are questions, that's the end of the report.
Oh.
Madam Chair, if I may, there are 5 hands up. I'm not sure which item the folks are wanting to comment on. It may be under commission items. Well, no, it may be under the only thing that we're hearing right now.
Under the, so I guess you recognize the people who want to ask him if they want to comment on the chief's report.
One moment.
If that's what their hands are up for.
Their hands were up prior to my report, but I'm happy to
Yes.
answer questions.
Yeah.
We're
I think
taking public
they've
comment
been up from the
on-
beginning.
Yes, correct.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
So I'm asking all 5 to unmute because maybe they're just ahead, since they're delayed, they're trying to make sure they get heard. The first one, ending in
no, Letitia, since
308.
the very next item on the agenda is public comment. Why don't we just move to the next item? And if their hands are up, they can, if they wish to just address the chief's comments, then they can.
Got it. They're all on mute at the moment, and so I'll let
So
you.
just move to item 3, public comment period.
Got it. Number ending in 308. Are you for the public comment portion? I'm asking to unmute again, number 308. Hello. They keep muting themselves, so maybe they're just listening. I don't know. I'll lower their hand. Number ending in 253. Your hand is raised and you are unmute. Are you calling to comment on public comment period? Again, number ending at 800, area code 714. Your hand is raised. You are unmute. Are you calling to speak on public comment period?
Yes. My name is David Deutsch. I'm with Bill Sound and Security. I'm a certified fitness on the Reg 4. I sent in the last week or so an email regarding the Rig 4 report that was accepted by the commission back in approximately the middle of November. I am looking for updates on this. It's been very discouraging from the point of view of not having any follow-up or public follow-up on this, and I'd like to see that it's put on a regular update. There are 3 phases within the report, like a short-term, mid-range, and long-range. These have impacts upon all of us that are certified on the Reg 4, as well as on the budget itself, and like to see activity on this.
Thank you for your comment. Number ending in 283, your hand is raised. I'm asking to unmute.
Hello, this is Dan. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Great, thank you. This is Daniel with the Los Angeles Fire Life Safety Committee and the owner of ABNA Test. First, I would like to start by saying I'm really excited to have Commissioner Woodsgray be president. It's been great. Every time we've spoken at these things, you've been always the one who's paid the most attention and listened to us. So thank you very much. And David, also thank you for being on today. But yes, we would also like to follow up on item. It was Board of Fire Commissions 2211, and it's in regards to the Chief Regulation 4 program. And this is the program, we started this about 4 years ago and trying to revamp the program, and the prices continue to increase. My renewals are up right now for the licenses, and it's $9,000. A few years ago, I had to let go of my father's licenses, which was about $8,000 at the time, and the fees keep going up. Commissioner Woodgray, you said as far as the commissioners, if they want to put things on the list, on the items, on the agenda, I'm hoping maybe you could do the same for us as well. This is something that we've been working very hard towards into completing, and we're hoping with your leadership and your guidance, we're able to see this through once and for all. As far as a small business goes, we're just getting swallowed up by these fees, and the fees really don't make too much sense as far as how they're structured. It's about $2,000 per license right now, and there are 22 different licenses. So, I mean, I'd love for one day if we're able to sit down or have a quick Zoom meeting and to kind of just explain in detail the program, how it works, and how we can make it better. So that's what I'd like to say, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Number ending in 872, I requested that you unmute yourself. You're on mute. Are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Richard Polanco. I had the honor of serving 16 years in the California legislature,
Oh,
where I
Richard.
served my last 4 years as Senate Majority Leader. I have been following what is going on in the department, and while concerned about certain incidences, I am glad that they are being investigated appropriately. However, I am troubled by the rush to judgment, by the fact that it appears that certain people are trying to make the Latino community and the Latino leadership in this department to be the fall guys and the fall women for the perceived problems in the department.
Really?
Latinos are the most underrepresented racial group in the department. They make up about 1/3 of sworn officers. They are the population of about 50% of the city and 40% of the state. Instead of antagonizing us and blaming us and trying to make us fall guys for the perceived problems, we should be building bridges with Latino leaders like myself, who have long history of advocacy and advancing civil rights and equal opportunity for people of color. This misguided strategy is certainly not lost on people like me. I am here to tell you that we as a community are listening carefully, and we as a community are concerned, and we are watching. I thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning. I ask that you please enter my remarks into the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
We have a hand raised again for number ending in 253. I'm asking that you unmute yourself. You have 2 minutes.
What he's
Hello,
talking.
can you hear me?
Oh, we can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hi, commissioners. Good morning. My name is Rosalind. I'm an organizer with Me Too Survivors Collective and Equity on Fire, and I'm here to comment on the culture of white supremacy and misogyny within LAFD. In an email discussing the Katie Becker letter, Fire Chief Terrazas is quoted saying,
We lost her. Speaker, I can see your number at the bottom of my participants list, and it looks like you are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Similar issue. Let's see. Caller.
Hello?
Hello. You are,
Yeah.
what is your number ending in, sir?
My number is 5253.
Okay, I only see the last 3 digits, so it's 253. Are you calling to comment on this item?
I'm calling to make
Public
public
comment.
and
Okay.
I want to make sure that we're not muting or unmuting people accidentally, because I'm getting a couple text messages saying people are being muted. So
Yeah,
we make sure.
we had an issue and we continue having an issue because I see you and 283 and Dr. Hara and Lady O, some other people that are unmuted, but like that last caller, I don't know what happened. She just dropped off. So let's begin with you, your 2 minutes.
Sure, thank you. My name is Robert Hawkins. I'm representing the Centurion organization. I'm the executive vice president. I want to say good morning to all fire commissioners, of course, Madam President, and Dr. Hara. Congratulations on your new appointments. The LAFD is meant to consist of firefighters who Angelenos can trust handle their worst days of their lives. Since the beginning, fire departments have enjoyed the representation, the reputation of being heroes, and this is an image that within the department that allows members to fly under the radar when it comes to harassment, discrimination amongst other colleagues. Firefighters are meant to be the people we can count on when our lives are on the line and our families are in danger. But what happens to the firefighters? How do we keep them? How do we protect our firefighters from their coworkers and from supervisors and from leadership? What happens to the minority firefighters when they're subjected to discrimination, harassment, and assault while they are trying to do their jobs? It's time for the LAFD leadership to address the harmful, racist social media posts by LAFD firefighters. It's time for the organization to be accountable to the community it serves. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to address these issues. And I just want to put it out there and make it clear that we are not trying to come against anyone, any specific group. We are simply trying to change the culture of the fire, make it every member, all members of the LAFD, and most importantly, make it a better fire department for the community.
Thank you. Caller ending in 308. I see your hand raised. I requested that you unmute.
hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes. Did we lose you a minute ago?
Yes,
Very well. I apologize. Let me lower your hand and go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
thank you. Good morning, commissioners. Like I said earlier, my name is Rosalind. I'm an organizer with Me Too Survivors Collective and Equity on Fire, and I'm here to discuss the culture of white supremacy and misogyny within LAFD. As I stated in an email discussing the Katie Becker letter, Fire Chief Terrazas is quoted saying, "I also do not agree with your statement that the culture remains deeply problematic. While we are not perfect, I'm very proud of our culture of safety and training." As a gender justice organizer and a sexual violence eradication advocate, I can confidently tell you that denial is one of the first reactions of abusers when they are faced with accounts of their wrongdoing. It speaks volumes that when confronted with the narratives of harassment and discrimination within LAFD, the responses of Chief Terrazas, UCLAC President Freddie Escobar, and city leadership have been to deny, pivot, and claim instead that they are the victims. I am dismayed, as I am sure that survivors of this harassment and abuse are, to see that when we ask so little of the department, the response is so hostile. In truth, all we ask to start is an acknowledgement of the harm that LAFD perpetrates onto its own BIPOC and female workers. It is astounding to ask for so little and to be met with such vitriol from those in positions of authority. As a supporter of survivors of abuse and harassment, I will call the acts of LAFD leaders and city authorities for what they are: the attempt of people who have done harm to evade accountability and preserve the chokehold they have over those with less power than them. We see you, and you cannot hide from the truth anymore. Thank you for the opportunity, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. I see no additional hands raised.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Now, has everyone in the audience, you've had a chance for public comment? Did everyone who wished to speak, did you raise your hand? Okay.
Sorry, I can't help you with notes on Apple Watch.
Excuse me. My watch has a habit of wanting to talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Commissioner Ibarra.
No, this is Linda Nguyen.
Oh, Linda Nguyen. I
I
see
just wanted-
Commissioner Ibarra, and I guess I hear it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just
I'm
wanted to add, because we're doing something new going forward today, that right now we're taking all public comments, including comments on any of the consent agenda items and regular agenda items. I know you had mentioned that, but I just wanted to make it crystal clear, because it's such a new practice, that if anyone has any comments on any of the consent agenda items or the regular agenda items, now is the time.
So just to be clear, we're not doing comments after each item as we've done before?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So speaking to the audience again, are there any people who are listening who wish to make comments on an agenda item or a non-agenda item?
I have one hand raised. One moment, please. Ask to unmute. Number ending in 105. We hear you. You have 2 minutes. Again, number ending in 105. We hear you. You have 2 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Freddie Escobar, President of United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, Local 112, representing over 3,500 brothers and sisters of the great LAFD. I'd like first to ask this commission to reconsider of what they're doing from this point on the agendas. We have agenda items that we do not know what the department is going to report, and we might want to have a comment on what is being stated. So my ask is to reconsider at least having public comment after the agenda items have been discussed for those in the public audience and for those also inside the fire department to consider. And also want to comment on what I believe is, her name is Rosalind, made a comment, and I don't appreciate her calling me an abuser. She doesn't know me. I've been on the fire department for 32 years, since 1989. And prior to that, I probably served as United States Marine Corps and the changes that have occurred in the fire department in the last 32 years in a paramilitary organization has been significant. And for her to sit back and insult me and call me names is inappropriate and unappreciated. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. I have
Okay, very
I-
good. Just want to make sure you have another hand.
yes,
Are
ma'am.
there other people that want to make comments? We want to
Yes,
make
ma'am.
sure that everyone has a chance to make their comments.
Number ending in 283. I've asked to unmute yourself. You're unmute and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, Commission. I just wanted to make a comment on 21061. It's a report by department on status of LAFD projects. In regards to Chief Regulation 4, it used to be on this project list and it's since been removed. We were trying to see if we could please add it back just so we could get some momentum and some movement going on the restructuring of the Chief Regulation 4. Thank you once again. And again, Ms. Woods-Gray, I'm very happy that you're president. Hopefully we'll get some stuff going. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments.
Thank you very much.
Before we move on to the consent agenda items, I just want to express support for the idea of having comments after every item, which is what we've usually done. And it usually allows for some sort of interaction with the public. So that, for example, on Reg 4, once that report comes back, we usually have a lot of people who make comments about the report that was just given by the department, and either they agree or disagree. And it's an opportunity for them to talk about both the written comments and any sort of interaction and questions that the commissioners have with the department. Usually it elicits new information. So I would just state support for that.
Okay, the next item, are there any more hands raised?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for your public comment. The comments of the public and the involvement of the public is very important. That's why we have a commission. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda items. And that's number 4. And I had already, I don't know why my voice is like dry, I guess. I wanted to separate A and item D, 4A, 4D from the consent agenda. And if someone else would like to move the approval of B, C, and E.
I so move.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and second that we receive and file B, C, and E. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote. Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
President, we need a roll
Oh,
call.
I forgot, we have to roll call. Okay,
Woods-Gray,
roll call, please. Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Hara,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Ninberg.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so the motion carries.
Mhm.
Thank you. Very good. Now, moving back to item A. That is the report of the department on the Los Angeles Fire Department Recruitment Training Academy overview update. And Ms. Gomez, who was the reporter?
Madam President, Steve Skelly, Recruit Services.
Oh, Chief Skelly. Okay. Good morning, Chief Skelly.
Good morning, ma'am. Madam President, Chief Employer and Commissioners, Steve Skelly, I'm honored to present to you our Recruit Training Academy overview report back on our reassignment program. Just note this is a report as an addendum to the original annual report that was requested by Commissioner Ibarra, and it reflects data and analysis regarding reassigned members from recruit classes 18-1 through 20-1. This mirrors our original annual report, and this report captures data from 6 academy classes. As indicated on this report, the reassignment program has successfully graduated 41 members. The analysis indicates that the success rate of the reassignment program is 80%. Per the Recruit Services Section Ethics and Procedural Manual, there are several ways that a recruit firefighter may end up in a subsequent training academy class. This could be due to injury or illness. If a recruit misses 4 consecutive days or more than 5 individual days of instruction due to an illness or injury. Just note that with the enforcement of our COVID-19 protocols, that we have not lost a single recruit due to COVID-19.
Oh, that's great.
Also with fundamentals of firefighting skills, this could be basic hose and ladder evolutions. This normally occurs right around between weeks 8 and 13, that a recruit firefighter must score 70% or above in both categories to graduate. If a recruit is a score of greater than 70% in one category, but is between 65 and 69 in the other, this would warrant a reassignment. Also, recruits can end up in a subsequent class due to practical application skills. There's 3 evaluations that simulate what is expected of an entry-level firefighter at a working structure fire. The recruit firefighter must pass all 3 of these evolutions in order to graduate from the academy. If the recruit firefighter is successful in only 2 of the 3 evolutions, this also would warrant a reassignment. Could be other unforeseen circumstances that may require a recruit subsequent. However, no matter how a recruit gets reassigned into a subsequent academy, the recruit only has 2 attempts at passing the academy per the City of Los Angeles hiring process. Furthermore, the recruit must start their second academy within 365 days of their first. Realizing that recruits only have 2 opportunities for success, the reassigned members are monitored very closely and provided with additional training opportunities. Of the 51 recruit firefighters who resigned, who were reassigned into subsequent classes, 41 were successful. They have graduated. That's an 80% number. All 41, they are either probationary firefighters or they completed their probation and are contributing members of our department. Of the 10 recruit firefighters that did not graduate, 4 were performing at a satisfactory level, yet resigned their position with Los Angeles City Fire Department to pursue employment with outside agencies. I'd also like to take the moment to acknowledge that our hardworking academy instructors and our staff continue to do excellent work, and we're proud of their handling of recruit firefighters. In our future annual reports, we will recruit a drill down on recruit reassignment data and analysis. This concludes my report back, and I'd like to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Skelly. Both of the revised report and the first report were both very good and looked like they all needed to be together somehow. So I guess when you do when is your next regular reporting period?
We'll begin working on that for last fiscal year. The current fiscal year that we're in, we'll start beginning on that in October with plans on presenting that in January.
Okay, so when you do that, then you'll have both of these reports together?
Yes, ma'am, they'll be combined.
Okay, good. And also, could you, I'd like to see a chart that shows what our hiring has looked like, both ethnically and gender-wise.
Yes, ma'am, that is normally included in the annual report.
Okay, good. That I would like to see that. This report, the second one, the revised one, did provide a lot of clear information. And I was really happy to see that I could tell when people went out, where they went, and why they went. Because on the other one, it looked like some people were missing from some of the people who had gone out, were not actually accounted for. But in the second one, it looked like it was clear as to why people had either been reassigned, whatever, they either resigned or did something else. But we could tell where they went. It was interesting to see that some went to other fire departments.
Yes, ma'am.
That's our loss, huh?
Yeah.
If they went to other fire departments, because that's what we want to do, is work on retaining these people who do come in and make it. I know that and as you well know, I've attended the training program many times to see exactly what they're doing, and they do an excellent job of providing instruction. And so there are other issues that we'll work on, but I don't need to go into them today, but I'll talk with you about them later. But the chief and I had already started talking about them before COVID hit. And talk with Chief Ruth here about some of the things some of the issues and concerns that I have there. But do any of the other commissioners have comments about this report?
I do. So first, yes, thanks. Chief Skelly, thank you so much always for this report. It's always very thorough. And it's also just really important for the public to sort of, because there has been a lot of coverage in, in the media about Joel Tower issues. And I think it's important for the public to know that we actually do provide a lot of opportunities for our recruits to succeed. And also it's an opportunity for them also to get to know the department. And we're a very specialized department. I don't think there's any department that has sort of the urban issues that we have with fires, and now homeless fires as well, 24 a day, and the urban wildlife interface. So to be a firefighter in this department, you sort of need to embrace all of that. And that may not be, for everybody. Like some people may want to have a more suburban department that doesn't have, the homeless issues that we have at Fire Station 9. I mean, that's not for everybody. Or just, do the wildfire interface thing that we do as well, and have, year-round fire season like we do. We're very specialized. Sign up for us. This is what you're signing up for. And so hopefully it's, this is a way for us to know that they want us, they want this department, and we know that they can perform all the myriad tasks that we ask our firefighters to do. So thank you for that. We definitely see that there's some differences and that are not surprising, I think, to anybody, because if you've been following this for 8 years like we have, these aren't surprising. They're looking really good though. We basically, it looks like we're getting the right women to get into the academy. For the most part, they succeed. The same thing with all the other groups. The ones who don't do as well when it comes to racial groups, it's like Latinos tend to be a little bit lower than the other ones in terms of retention, and also in terms of in the department. But other than that, I like the numbers. They're moving in the right direction. Thank you always so much for all the work that you do, and just the professionalism in your bureau, in your department. Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
I have a question. I have a question. This is Commissioner Babcock. This is my first time seeing this. Yep, this is my first time seeing this report, so it's very thorough. I appreciate it. Look forward to getting to know it even better and in more depth. I do have a question. Do we do any tracking on where folks come from geographically speaking? Are they coming from LA County, San Bernardino County? Can we track who comes from LA City, people out of state? Just curious on, I know there's quite a few programs out there now in the city of Los Angeles, like right here in my neighborhood at Wilson High School, that has the Fire Cadet program. Curious to see what kind of numbers we retain from the actual city that go into the academy classes.
The answer is yes, ma'am. However, that is not my shop. That's Chief Larson's shop.
Okay.
And recruitment. And yes, I can confidently say that they do track that, and also they do have a database within the personnel services section where we gather all that information.
Okay, it might be helpful to see that in a future report. I understand what you're saying, though it's not your section, so maybe that's something President Woods Gray we could see in the future, or it could already exist. And obviously, I just haven't seen a lot of these reports yet. Thank you.
Oh, that's very good points, Commissioner Babcock. And perhaps the two departments could work together and make a complete report so that we could add, you're saying that's coming from the recruiting department. But could we add that to your report? Because the two departments could work together and add that as another report that goes, because your report is on recruiting and the drill tower.
Madam President, Chief Everett here. We absolutely can provide those numbers and we can package it into the same report, or we can make it a separate report. I think the separate report may be a little more digestible, only because it's going to get a little convoluted with the amount of material that's contained within the recruitment report and the recruit training report, but we can do it either which way. I will mention that the fire chief's priority is to really hire within the city, and that's one of the reasons for that magnet high school program that Commissioner Babcock just mentioned, is to really draw from the residents of the city as much as possible in our hiring process. So we can provide that report to you in a future meeting.
Okay, Chief, I think that's a great idea. Just add it as another report. And
Yes,
because as you said, it might become complicated in that way.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there other commissioners' reports? Thank you, Commissioner Babcock.
Yeah, I want to second Commissioner Babcock's request as well. I think that's a great idea to add that. Can we get a time frame just so that we know when to expect that report? Like whatever's doable. I know Chief Larson isn't here, but you know, is it 30 days, 60 days? 60 days?
Commissioner, if you can give me 60 days, I don't know the time
Right.
frame on what the data pool is going to be. And
Okay.
I also need to get a time span on what we're looking at. Are we looking at the recruitment efforts over the past 10 years or the last 5 years? So once we kind of hone down on what exactly we're looking at, we can get an idea of what the data pool will be and put the numbers together.
Why don't we just start with the 8 years that we've been here?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what happened before us. Remember, they weren't hiring any people. And then firefighters were being hired for 5 years before we came.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's just start with our time, the
Will
8
do.
years. That would be great.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Amber, I didn't even, or do you have other comments? Was that it? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I do, but thank you very much. And thank you, Commissioner Babcock as well. And Chief Skelly for this report. I know it was a little confusing because it's a separate report. I know it's an amendment, but if we could bring them together as well, I would appreciate that. Because I had to go search back to the May report and I don't think there was a lot of discussion on it. So just asking for this. So I would like to see these reports put back together so that we can have it all in one, and then we can have a full discussion about you know, the efforts, which a lot of these efforts are really great. And then I just have a couple of questions. I will say one thing I do have to say is great is the current status of the class is the ethnicity is getting much better. Although I'd like to see Hispanics go up. I mean, they are over 50% of the population and we're at 32%. But Asian recruits in this class are at 18%, which I think also might be the highest it's been. I don't know.
Sounds like.
Yeah, so that's good. Filipino. We don't have mixed. Do we request information? We have mixed race because it seems like a lot of Americans now are mixed race. Do we offer that?
Whatever, if personnel has them listed as mixed, we would include that in the report.
Okay, so they don't have it.
Correct.
There are some that non-identify, right?
Yeah.
I saw that someplace.
We have a few that identify with other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever personnel services has them in their database, that's how we get them.
Okay.
Some of the department reports do indicate other, if you,
Yeah.
how we aggregate from commission.
Right, it's just other, it's not mixed race, but yeah, and that's voluntary. Yeah, I do have a concern. So I do want to say one thing that is good is that you do have a 10% of it's from start to finish is are women, but this upcoming class only has 6%. So, and that's just in the class. So we know that when you have such few numbers, they're likely not to pass. So I just want to point that out. Question regarding the physical assessment. So you wrote here, sorry, I've been so busy. So who, you have used the state certification for tests, correct?
All of our recruit firefighters are recently now being state certified, firefighter 1 and firefighter 2, and they'll come out of the academy with that certification. But that's
And
not.
but does that certify, who certifies the strength and stamina?
Are you speaking to the practical application portion of the academy, weeks 13 through 14, 13 through 18?
14 through 22.
Yeah.
Practical training.
Those phase evaluations were tested by field firefighters several years ago. I believe it was before we started back in 2013. They went through a beta test and got people from all ranks and all ages on the department, and they went through that and they generalized what a recruit firefighter should be able to accomplish. And so we've been using that same standard since.
So so it's not a state certified physical assessment. It was done in 2013 or 2012 internally.
And then a reevaluation of that was done. It started in 2013 and it was reevaluated in 2014 and fine-tuned.
Okay, 2014. So 2014. Okay. Have we ever had a third-party assessment of the academy of this portion?
I believe there's a validation study of that, but I'm not exact. I can't recall exactly what year that was done. We can look into that.
Okay, that would be great. Just because I'm looking at, like, from the report before, it seems like there's a lot of failure out from the phases. So I just want to, it takes a long time to get these recruits in. It's a lot of money. It's and people are dedicating their lives, and then we just want to make sure that what is tested and that this actually is like the best way to do it. So we want to make sure that and I think you've been doing a great job. I'm just looking at the data and going, wow, there's a lot of people failing out of the phases. And so what are we doing and how can we assess it I know that some academies have gotten a third-party assessment of their physical requirements. And I think that should also be something that we as a department should look at as well, to make sure that, that we aren't just looking, it's self-reflexive instead of, saying, oh, okay, getting an objective, lens on this would be really important as well. So yeah, because if that was 2014, and I see a lot of injuries too. So, and I know we're doing caps. I know COVID was difficult as well. But making sure that we are, if you can pass the CPAT, if you've done the written, you've done the backgrounds, it's a long process, and it would be a shame if, if there's something we couldn't do better out there, in this part. So if you could come back with that information on the last third-party assessment of the academy, that would be great. You could probably, I think we could just have that come, just put it into the agenda for next meeting, just find it and send it, would be great, so that we could see it. Great. Thank you. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Let's see. I think we've exhausted our comments. Thank you, Chief Hassan, and your department for all the work you do. It's quite a complicated process.
Chief Skelly.
It's Chief Skelly. I'm sorry. I said Hassan, didn't I? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the screen. I was just in. Thank you, Chief Skelly, for your report, and thank you for the details of explaining it to us. And I always like to have it on the regular agenda because we like to talk about it. Okay, so in the future,
Yeah,
we'll
it
try to
was
make.
in the regular agenda, and then it got moved to the consent agenda.
I know it was moved out.
I
Originally, when we did the agenda, it was on the regular agenda.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's
easy to rectify. But at any rate, I think we're complete. We've exhausted that item. So item A, is there a motion to receive and file item A?
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we receive and file item 21-054. Letitia, will you do a roll call, please?
Woods Gray,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Hara. Let me see if he is unmute.
He's muted.
Okay. Commissioner Hara, I've requested to unmute. I'm going to request again. I know you're out in the field, so it'll take a minute, but.
Yes, I was muted apparently. Okay.
Thank you, sir. We are basically taking a roll call on item 4A as in Apple. Hara,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Ninberg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move to the next item, which is 4D, BFC 21-072. It's a report on the quarterly fire department diversity report.
Madam President, I don't see our author on the screen, but I can answer any questions you might have about the report.
Okay. I think that first are there any commissioners who have any comments?
This is the usual report that we get on quarterly. You're talking about the diversity report, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So it's a snapshot of what the diversity in the department. We're particularly focused on people who are leaving the department and how that. So, thanks for it. We always look forward to seeing it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. The report, I'm happy to see it this way because I remember before we didn't get it broken down the way they have it broken down today. And it's really very good to be able to see it broken down by ethnicities and gender. And my concern, I guess, the question one of the things is, can't they make the print bigger? It may take a few more pages, but they could make it a little bigger.
I second that because it's.
I'm going to third that.
Yes, ma'am.
But I just wanted to make note of the fact that it looks like, well, we lost a good number of people already based upon this report. We had 142 people that left this year. And then in the next year, we have 269, which is no, not that year. That's 22, 23. That's the very next year. The next 21, 22, we have 142. So the reason I wanted to see that hiring list that I asked for, maybe it needs to come from personnel, is to see how the hiring compares with the loss. Because it's real clear that we're losing quite a number of people here each year. And then I just wanted to kind of see what the hiring looks like as compared to the number of people that we're losing. So that's why I asked for that report on the hiring so that we can actually see that. So I'm not sure, Chief, do you think Everett, that the personnel needs to do their hiring chart?
Well, what I can tell you, ma'am, is in this year's budget, we were approved for 180 firefighters in this fiscal year. And we currently have vacancies in the field. And as you've mentioned, we have projected exits coming up as well. And because of the drop program, we're able to project over the next 5 years. So that number in red, like you mentioned in 21, 22, projected in actuals of 142. And then the following year, that cumulative number will jump up to 269 because next fiscal year, we lose 127 in that fiscal year. So as the budget comes through, we continue to ask for firefighter authorities to hire into the drill tower. And as I mentioned, we got 180 in this fiscal year. So we will continue on that trajectory to get ahead of our attrition, but we're still catching up. And the capacity of the drill tower, the capacity of the budget to actually pay for the classes to go through
that's the big problem.
are the limiting factors. So, but I just want to point out, and I think everyone realizes it, but that number in red is a cumulative number year to year to year. So that 5 years from now, it's like, I don't know, 600 or 487 or something like that, or 508. So that number will continue to grow. And our big spike, as you mentioned, is 23, 24 and 22, 23. In those 2 fiscal years, we're losing 127 folks in 22, 23, and we're losing 202 folks in 23, 24. So we are trying to ramp up as much as we can to get close to attrition neutrality, and then continue to lean on the budget to hire more firefighters as we go through. There's not a lack of people that want to be hired. It's just a matter of being able to get them through the academy and the capacity of the academy to accomplish that goal. One last thing, the addition to that, as you look further down and it gets into the ranks of promoted ranks, that was an earlier report that we had mentioned, lining up our promotional exams in alignment with these expected exits. And that was one of the board reports we did last year, where Chief Hissong provided that calendar of promotional exams to do that, because we know that we have attrition coming in the different ranks of engineer and apparatus operator, inspector. So as we prepare for that, we have to prepare the exams to line up for those vacancies as well. So those lists are current so that they're able to be promoted into. So that was an important key that this commission approved last year. So yeah, so we do look at this list quite often, and we do forecast our budgeting for the recruits accordingly.
Very good. Thank you so much.
And I'll make
that's why I want to see the report of the hiring that we've done over the last 8 years. And then we can look at the drop numbers and we see how many people are coming in and how many people are going out. But it's just something that I would like to see. And I would like for the commissioners to have privy to that information also, because I think they might be interested in that. And one thing I forgot to ask Chief, I wanted an update on the current recruit the drill tower group sent to all of the commissioners. It's not necessarily for a meeting, but just send us an update on who's there ethnically, gender wise, and let us see who's there. Just email us that list, please.
Yes, ma'am. The one other thing I'll mention about the report you just requested, that'll be a retroactive or retrospective look at who we've hired, but we don't know, obviously, we know who's leaving in 5 years. We don't know how many authorities we're going to get approved for in the future 5 years because of the budget and the limiting factors that I mentioned. So it'll be a retrospective look. It won't really impact if we're able to get those spots accordingly in future years.
What I'm really looking at, and more so than the future, is I want to know what we've done up to date. How many people did we hire today through how many do you project we might hire through next year? Through 21, 22.
Right, and so we
That's
did
as
that.
far as I want, that's as far as we need to go right now.
Okay, so we've done some of that analysis, obviously, for the budget request, and that's how we got 180 firefighters approved. But we can package that together for you.
Yeah, I just want to see how many people have we actually hired, each ethnically and gender-wise through those periods of time. And then we can look at the other report and we can compare, we can look at that and analyze what we want to see from it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, are there other comments on this report?
Yes, just thank you for pulling this. Just looking at it, I just want to point out that just looking at race and gender here, under Black firefighters, there's only 3 apparatus operators, and there's no female apparatus operators. Hispanics make up 32% of apparatus operators, and Caucasians make up 54%. So, but then when you go down to inspectors, African Americans are 36% and 34%, and females are, okay, those are 5%. But it seems like, do we know why that you have more African American firefighters that move to be inspectors? Why there are so few as apparatus operators? I see no pilots. I see one helicopter pilot.
He was my
and
rookie.
I remember when he got promoted, that was great. Yeah, and I also have a concern as well for captains, Captain 1s and Captain 2s. We only have 2% female Captain 1s and 0.61% Captain 2s. So we only have 1 Captain 2. Do we know what we're doing? What are we doing to mentor, to pipeline, to create that pipeline, to make sure that we have representation, race and gender at every level? I know that there was a really great young female firefighter who tried to be an AO, and she ended up last on the list. And she was, all-star athlete at UCLA. So it's just, I don't know, who knows what happened, but do we know what we're doing? What are we doing to increase those numbers and make sure that at every level we have, Hispanics and Asians and African Americans represented, and that they're not, skewed, to one area?
Commissioner, I think, as you pointed out, and we've talked before in commission, that the promotional process is obviously an individual's choice on what kind of career path they want to take. And I think many people will lean towards being an operator, either an engineer or an apparatus operator, to maybe be an officer down the road, or perhaps be an inspector first. And it's at the department's position to offer those programs and mentor folks that are interested in each of those promotable opportunities, and give those opportunities to anyone that's interested. In order to get the interest level up, that's another challenge, because I don't know what drives each individual member. I know Chief Hissong is working on programs, and I think on his next report, he might be able to fill in some of the blanks on that, because this part of the training division's mission is to not only get more people into the process, but mentor them properly so they're successful in the process. So that's just my off the top of my head comments. I really encourage anyone that's interested in promotional opportunities to seek those out. And there's several mentorship programs throughout the department, within the department, and with our stakeholder groups. that will encourage folks to and work through successful program preparedness. But I am proud of my rookie, that is the helicopter pilot that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's great.
he's still hanging in there, so that's great.
Top notch, yes, ma'am.
Very good, very good. Are there other comments? Okay, from commissioners? Okay, seeing
No.
none, then is there?
Yeah, sorry. I just think that we should, I think my internet's unstable.
You're
That's the
okay
problem with
now.
technology. Okay, Commissioner Nimberg, did you have something you were saying?
I did. You know what? I think my internet's unstable. Yeah, it keeps coming up. Oh, it's not.
Oh,
Currently, no. Okay, so no, I just think it's something, and I look forward to hearing about it. You know, what's being done to kind of recruit and make sure that we have, you know, diversity at every rank. So I look forward to talking to Chief Isong when he talks about the university. So, thanks. Thank you.
okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Graham Everett, for filling in there and getting that report done and getting the information back to personnel. Thank you. Is there a motion to receive and file item D4D 21-072?
So moved.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 21-072. Letitia, would you do a roll call, please?
Woods Gray,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Hara,
He's muted.
Says he raised his hand. I don't know if that means yes.
I don't know how he keeps getting muted, but I'm requesting to unmute again. Commissioner Hara,
Yes.
okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Ibarra,
Yes.
Ninberg,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you. So now we move to item 5, regular agenda items. A is a report of the department on the Fire Prevention Bureau Certified Unified Program, the CUPA program update for 2021. And Ms. Gomez, who's reporting on that?
Royce Hall, and he's prepared to speak on
Okay.
the item.
Morning, President Woods Gray, Fire Commissioners.
Oh, good morning.
Chief Poya, City Attorney Nguyen. Royce Long, Cooper Program Manager for the Fire Prevention and Public Safety Bureau. Today I'm providing an update on the Cooper program for the 2021 fiscal year, and also an update on the results from the state Cooper evaluation, which occurred in January 2020. Regarding program inspections, the Cooper program regulates over 8,600 businesses for environmental compliance issues every year. We reached our inspection goals for all the programs with the exception of the hazardous materials inventory program, where we are short about 462 inspections on where we should be at this time. Many of the overdues are a result of adding 515 new facilities into the program without increasing staffing resources, which we need to address in this coming budget request. The hazardous waste program also added 1,278 new facilities into the program as a result of LA County's efforts to respond to deficiencies they had been issued to them. We are also a few inspections behind on the CalUp program as we had temporarily moved the inspector to assist with the evaluation of the hazardous waste program, which is implemented by the county. Regarding program revenue, the Cooper bills approximately $16.6 million in permit fees every year. That's up from the previous year of $15 million. We have plan check fees between $500,000 and $600,000. This last year was $600,000, and we have enforcement penalties as well. Out of the $16.6 million, just under $7 million of those permit fees are transmitted to LA County every year for the hazardous waste program. Our collection city rate stands at 95.1%, which is a really high number actually compared to a lot of Coopers statewide. And surprisingly, it was not impacted by the economic downturn with COVID-19. We Regarding enforcement, we had 9 administrative hearings for the year for $130,490 in penalties and another $659,952 in penalties for cases that were referred to the city attorney's office. We submitted 24 cases to the city attorney last year, and we're still waiting on judgment on probably most of them. It takes a while to get through. We also have 72 cases that are backed up in my enforcement unit waiting to be processed. And our biggest barrier, once again, is getting them processed in a timely manner is really staffing as well. We have one of the best enforcement programs across the state, and we have enough cases to easily double those efforts. Regarding the evaluation, every 3 years, the Cooper program is evaluated by KLEPA and the state agencies that work underneath them. As I said before, the program was evaluated 2020. And even though the LAFD Cooper program did not receive any deficiencies for the programs we directly implement, we're still responsible for the actions of LA County Fire Department Health Hazardous Materials Department, as they do the Cooper hazardous waste inspections under an agreement with our department. LA County did receive multiple deficiencies during the state evaluation, most notably for failing to permit and inspect over 1,500 hazardous waste generating businesses across the city. For the most part, that is now being corrected over the last year and a half. We also do our own evaluation, LAFD Cooper of LA County. It's called the PA evaluation. And it should be noted that I'm mandated to evaluate them under Health and Safety Code. They're currently under a program improvement agreement and have been for the last 2 years for failing to address deficiencies that were identified during the annual evaluation of them 4 years ago. And the deficiencies are the same that DTSC just brought up, with basically not regulating a bunch of facilities in the city, and that's over 1,500 of them. Regarding statewide involvement, it's been my mission to raise the profile of LAFD Cooper within the state. So in addition to inspection and enforcement activity, the Cooper program is involved in many statewide projects and initiatives. So just to list a couple. So number one, the fire inspectors have been speakers at previous Cooper conferences, which typically is attended by 2,200 regulators and businesses statewide, and they've done that for the last few years. Number two, LAFD Cooper inspectors, sworn and civilian, represent LAFD on all 5 statewide technical advisory groups. Number three, on the Cooper Forum Board, we have a lot of involvement on the board. LA City holds position of vice chair, statewide legislative coordinator, statewide data steering coordinator, regional UST issue coordinator, and regional Cooper Forum coordinator, amongst other things. We've been involved in the peak hazmat inventory rollout for our fire engines across the department, and we have had a lot of involvement with the butane challenges over the last few years here. So in summary, the Cooper program continues to perform steadily and has been so for some time now. We're on track to meet the majority of our mandates going forward. However, we do need to add additional staffing as the program continues to grow. I'm incredibly proud of all of our members and their captains, Captain Dragato and Captain Sanchez, who continually push the program to be better and better each year. And just lastly, I want to express my appreciation for the ongoing support provided by Chief Terrazas, Chief Mathis, Chief Crowley, Chief Boyer, and Chief Saunders. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Me.
Okay, did any of the commissioners have questions? Thank you very much for the very thorough report.
You're welcome.
So I want to thank you for this report, because when we first joined the commission, this was the Cooper reports were like 150 pages, and most of them identified deficiencies within our oversight of the Cooper. And we've gone, and thanks very much to your leadership and the leadership of the fire marshal and the prior fire marshals, and of the department, and also Chief Terrazas, making this a priority, because this is life changing, this is life-saving activity. So there was a question when we were talking about the prior agenda item about a high propensity of African Americans in this. In Fire Prevention Bureau, but Fire Prevention Bureau is a key part of the mission of this department, and people should be honored and proud to be part of that unit. It's key. And everything you do here is super important. You've turned this around, and now we're one of the preeminent Coupa units in the States. So, you know, kudos to you and the people that work with you, because you do amazing work. I do have questions about the Boyd Street fire and butane and how we have oversight over how we can better sort of regulate when we don't know that they're there. Because I think that was the problem in Boyd Street. Like, we didn't know that they had these hazardous materials happening there. So what's our strategy for that?
So our strategy, you know, we've been out there more frequently visiting those sites, just going up and down the street, knocking on doors, see what people have. But you know, a lot of it we see now, we're not seeing the butane stored at the retail stores like we used to in the past. It's there in some amounts, right? But we're finding it in warehouses that we're not aware of. And there's a bigger investigation going on right now at a federal level, working through that issue. So I won't go into too much detail about it, but that's one part of it, just, you know, walking the streets and keeping an eye on things. But on the Cooper Forum Board, in the program, with those retail sites that we have, they have an exemption under Health and Safety Code, so they don't have to disclose anything under Health and Safety Code. And I'm working with the Cooper Forum Board right now to get rid of that, because, you know, they can have a retail front and it just looks like you got a few cans of butane there in a couple of boxes, but the reality is they got pallets and pallets of it, and our firefighters need to know about that. So I'm working with the board to remove that exemption, and hopefully this next legislative session, we should be able to get that through.
Is there a special bill that you're trying to get passed? Is that what you're saying?
So not for the retail exemption, that'll be next year, and then hopefully we'll see a bill be developed out of that, and I'm pretty confident we will. There is another bill called Assembly Bill 480 right now, which has been going through the works, which the Cooper Forum Board has been supporting with LA County. And that's basically, it would give the Coopers the ability to shut down a facility if they identified as like an imminent and substantial danger to public safety. We kind of already have that power in the fire department already, so probably wouldn't impact LAFD too much. But there's 81 Coopers throughout the state that aren't attached to a fire department, that don't work under fire code, and that would definitely help them, because butane, nitrous oxide, it's a problem across the entire state and actually nation.
And it's important to know that people have that in their buildings, because lots of these establishments are going up in neighborhoods now, and they always were in neighborhoods. And being in neighborhoods next to an apartment building or between two apartment buildings, it's extremely dangerous. So I'm glad that you're working on a way to identify where these dangerous materials are located, because it's very important to a community to know exactly what's in the house next door to them. Okay, are there other comments from the commissioners? Thank you, Commissioner Barr.
Yes, I'm going to keep my video off because my internet is not doing great. So I just want to again say thank you for this incredible work. It's just every time you bring a report to us, it just gets better and better. And I know that this is a tremendous amount of work. You've turned this around 180, even more. And that's all I want to say is just thank you. Thank you for this work. This is great.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
Any more commissioner comments? I want to concur with what Commissioner Barr said, because I do remember 8 years ago also. And your coming has really made a difference. And I'm concerned about the county deficiencies how it affects us.
Yeah, well, a lot of Coopers, you know, they actually have that hazardous waste program under the just one Cooper. But we made great agreements with LA County back in '96 to allow them to come in and do the hazardous waste inspections for us. Unfortunately, like, you know, as we've already discussed in prior years, LFD Cooper wasn't running very well. And it was our job at the same time to monitor what the county was doing. And so we really weren't monitoring the county either. So we've taken a really deep dive on the county, and we found out some really disturbing things. Are way behind on inspections. You know, there's at least a couple of thousand facilities out there that have gone unregulated forever. And
wow.
I really wasn't getting county's attention for some time. And that's why actually it was 2 years. And then, so pretty much denying there was a problem with unregulated sites. And so I had to put them on that program improvement agreement, which is the last step before, you know, decertification, basically, to take the program away from them. So they've made a lot of progress. It's taken a lot of resources out of us to get them where they are today. And they're about to come off the PIA. They're falling behind on inspections again, and actually just a little bit. So I'm probably going to maintain them on the PIA for probably another year just to make sure they consistently, you know, get the inspections done. But it's been a lot of work.
Who in the county works with you?
My equivalent over there is Chief Mario Tresarios.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mario Tresari. Okay, very good. Well, I sounds like, I don't know. Do you think this is manageable?
You know, we're working on things behind the scenes, and we're trying to work things out with them. And I would prefer to have the hazardous waste program under the Cooper, the LAFD Cooper, under my command. And because our inspectors can go out there, they do the underground storage tank inspections, they do the hazmat, they can do haz waste at the same time. And that was how the Cooper was always meant to be from the very start. So I can definitely handle it if we can bring it over.
Okay. Okay, very good. If you think that it's okay, and well, all you need to, will keep us informed as to where we need to go on that LA County issue or any other issues that you may need. But I did also hear you say that staffing is low.
Yeah, so we've, you know, we've grown a lot. Our inventory's grown a lot. Our program's grown a lot. You know, we had more demands for fire inspector 1s, fire inspector 2s, and just supervisors in the program too. It's pretty much, you know, I'm kind of like the technical supervisor for the entire program. And then we have our captains, you know, supervising, you know, the staff. And so it's a lot of work to do all that, as well as be on the board and just everything that we're trying to do within the city. So, I mean, I love my work, and I take a lot of pride working for LAFD, but I know we could do a lot more with more staff.
Okay, very good. And I was pleased to hear that you guys provide speakers, and the inspectors are going out speaking, and all the other work that you're doing besides just the inspecting that helps to create a greater relationship with LA and the surrounding communities. So thank you for that extra work that you're doing there. And just thanks for bringing this department halfway back to where it should be. And we'll just have to work with you on that county issue, because that does sound like it's a real problem.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate all of the work that you and the inspectors are doing, because it's, I know, a yeoman's job. Thank you very much. Are there any further comments from commissioners? No? Okay, so seeing none, is there a motion to receive and file 21-074?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we're receive and file 5A BFC 21-074. Ms. Gomez, will you do the roll call, please?
It's great.
Yes.
Babcock,
You're muted.
Yes.
thank you. Hara,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
and Lindberg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item 5B is a verbal report of the department on the LAFD Training Institute and Public Safety University Center. And that's Chief Hassan, right?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Commissioner Hara, congratulations, both of you, to your new positions, and Commissioner Babcock, welcome to the Los
Thank you.
Fire Department. My name is Steve Hissong. I'm the Assistant Chief in charge of the Training Division. And today I'd like to present you with a small verbal report on how we're doing with our Public Service University Center, as well as our LAFD Training Institute. In order to kind of do a holistic view of it, I want to just do a quick historical perspective on how we even got to where we're at. So in concert with the Fire Chief's strategic plan, goal number 8, to recruit, develop, and retain a professional and diverse workforce, and sub-goal number 3, to strengthen and train and educate opportunities for the LAFD members. Back in 2017, we developed a concept idea of a professional development center. And in 2018, we actually implemented both the Public Service University Center as well as the LAFD Training Institute. And if to kind of see how that works, if you look at the two sides of a triangle, one side is a professional service university of all the formalized education. The other side of that triangle would be the LAFD Training Institute, which are all the LAFD specifics, the skill specifics on the different ranks. And the center of that would be layers of the different ranks that we have all the way up to the fire chief. And kind of like what Chief Graham Everett was mentioning earlier, in alignment with the promotional exams, we now are going to be able to work towards getting each of the education, whether it's associates, whether it's a bachelor's, whether it's a master's or a doctorate, would be in alignment with the promotional exams and ranks that you're also going for. As well as on the other side of that triangle, the LAFD Training Institute will be providing rank specifics, whether it's a fire officer certificate training from the state fire training, or NWCG, which is the National Wildland Group, classes that are specific for each one of those ranks. So just to kind of keep that in perspective on how each of those two sides of the triangle are in alignment. Right now, the Public Service University, we have implemented it back in 2018. And just to kind of have a better understanding, the Public University Center is basically an information area, a place to go where you can find out where you are within your educational goals and where do you want to go when you move forward. So we were able to provide 3 educational fairs since 2018. And then in 2020, we had to shut down everything because of the impacts of COVID. But in those 3 educational fairs, we had over 30 to 40 people that attended each one of those fairs that were working towards their educational goal. Working towards that, we also implemented a website that is actually on our LAFD portal right now, that anybody can go to the website and look at what do they want to do. If they want to look into an associate's degree, a bachelor's, a master's, all the way to a doctorate, as well as the National Fire Academy that offers multiple classes on executive leadership type classes that's back east. So we have all of that on a portal now that anybody could look at what their roadmap is as to how they want to pursue their educational goals. And on that website, it actually has the links to each one of the universities as to what they have to offer. And we worked with each of the universities, the colleges and universities, to try to get the best prices of units for our members. And it's all listed on that website there. We also on that website have a list of contacts from LAFD members that have taken those programs. So anybody could look at that and see, if I'm interested in taking a University of Southern California executive class, I could look at one of the contacts people there of the LAFD and find out what they felt about it and look at it. So each one of the courses is designed specifically to help the individual themselves. Whatever their interest is whether it's more of an online, a hybrid, or an actual brick and mortar type university. And it lists it all out in that website itself there. It's been a very passionate program for about a few of us that have done this voluntarily. We don't have any staff that have put all this together. It's all been worked together to kind of, because of our passion, to make it as best as we possibly can. So it's really going good. But the one thing that I do want to kind of highlight is the partnerships that we've developed in some of the colleges and universities. And the East Los Angeles College, ELAC, for years has been our partner with the Los Angeles Fire Department to receive what's called vocational education training funds, which is the VET funds that we will write a report for also. But that's training funds that come into our department. And we've been partner with ELAC for a long, long time. In 2012, when we opened up the new academy, we worked with ELAC to actually be able to get 19 and a half units for every one of our recruit firefighters going through the academy that goes directly towards an associate's degree in fire science if they don't have a degree already. And we as a department pay for those units to make sure that they're on a road to success to actually get an associate's degree for each one of the members that go through the Recruit Training Academy. And that's a partnership we've elaborated on since 2012. We've also, in just the last 4 years, partnered up with University of La Verne, and they are now sponsoring our units in the LAFD Leadership Academy. So a member that goes through our Leadership Academy could also get 9 units that goes towards a bachelor's degree in organizational leadership, as well as University of La Verne usually teaches classes here at Frank Hotchkiss, the training center, to continue that education. But again, since COVID, we've had to shut that down. So now they're only available on online classes. And then the third partnership that we've done just in the last few years is with the University of Southern California, that actually is an executive leadership program. It's the LAFD Executive Master of Leadership program that they give a scholarship to 2 of our members each year. That's a 2-year program that they could work towards their master's degree. And all of these programs are advertised on the website that I was referring to try to incentivize and entice our members to continuously pursue all the way through their educational goals. On the LAFD Training Institute portion, it's always been a challenge to try to keep up with the demand of all the classes. And in order to do that, we needed to go out and do an actual request for proposal. And we put that out there just last week. And all the due dates are going to be on September the 1st for multiple vendors to come to the Los Angeles Fire Department and teach state fire training classes, the NWCG classes, which are the wildland classes, and the leadership classes to the Los Angeles Fire Department members, probably 40 to 50 or so classes that we're trying to line up per year for our members. Each of those classes, those state fire training classes, are going to be in alignment with the promotional exams. As Commissioner Ninberg was asking, how are we trying to prepare? We're looking at those timelines that are with the promotional timelines and try to put these state fire training classes that are really going to entice our members to be better prepared for the positions that they're looking at going for a promotion, whether it's a fire officer, whether it's a captain 2 or a battalion chief. Each of these classes will be in alignment with those promotional exams to best help them prepare for the exams themselves. And because they're actually being taught as state fire training classes, they're a little bit broader than just LAFD, but they'll also be infused LAFD training within those classes. So those are a few things that we're doing to try to line up everything to ensure that we not only just depend on the fire stations teaching people to be prepared, but as a department, we're looking at a more holistic view of how to prepare our members. And those are the kind of the creative things that we're trying to do to really be prepared, especially for the 23-24 fiscal year, when we have the highest attrition rates, as you mentioned, Madam President. So those are the things that we're doing with the Public Service University, as well as the LAFD Training Institute. I'm open to any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Hassan. It sounds like another innovative project that LAFD has implemented. We're really great with those innovations. I love it.
Thank you, ma'am. We're trying.
And it brings to mind the discussion that we had on changing the rules on education. You are really helping the firefighters to promote and to earn those degrees because these extra classes are counting toward college degrees. And I remember that seemed to be an issue when we were trying to change the requirements. And I'm really happy to see that there's this extra help that will help them to move ahead if they so choose. Are there questions from the commissioners? Comments?
Yes. Thank you, Chief Hassan, for the verbal report. Although it's the thing with verbal reports is they're a little difficult to follow. If we could get that in written form so that we can follow it and figure out what's going on. Because you have the Public Safety University Center, that is sort of like a reference point, right? Where, yes, so that's, you're referring people to, and those tend to be and back to Andrew Glazier's question, these are public universities, correct? That you're
They're
referring
both. We have listed what people have taken and
Some are
with,
private.
so they'll be both public and private as far as profit. So we just listed as to what people could be interested in.
Okay, they're not like endorsed by you. You're just saying that this is, okay. But you do work with USC?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, they do, their executive masters in leadership is a good program. And I know that a lot of firefighters have gone through that. It's great. For the vendors in the Training Institute, are you, because we want to focus on diversity, are you focusing on getting diverse vendors, women, minorities?
Yes, ma'am.
And who's
everything is out to bid right now. We haven't received any of the bids. So what the next step of after it closes the bid dates, then we have a group of people that look at all of the bids and look at what their qualifications are as well as diversity to see what vendors we're going to actually accept as a contract. And for that bid, because there's so many classes, we'll probably be putting on contract multiple vendors, but that is one of the criteria that we're looking at.
Okay. And who's the group that picks the vendors?
We have about 4 of us that are within the training division as well as the fire chief's office there.
Okay. All right. And what is the I guess it probably mostly male.
For what, ma'am?
The 4 people?
No, ma'am.
Are they're female? Excellent.
2 and 2.
Then this is great. This is fantastic. Awesome. It does matter who is there at the table deciding. So we want to make sure, and the racial makeup of it as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So I take it it's diverse as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. I mean, creating a diverse department takes work. I mean, it is, you have to be mindful, and so it is really important to keep that as a priority and at the forefront. Also, when you come back to discuss this, I'd like to know what your recruitment efforts are to get people to these courses. A lot of times you have to foster that, and you'll see, that's why I'm like, you just want to make sure that people have the opportunities, that they know they have the opportunities, they feel welcome. So we want to make sure, I'd love to see what you're doing to foster that, and certainly for promotions as well.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things that's on the website that I was really adamant about was creating roadmaps for everybody to know how to get to each one of their career goals that they're looking at. So even eventually, and we don't have it yet, but eventually, if I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, I want to be able to go to that site and know exactly what steps I have to take to become a helicopter pilot. So those are the roadmaps. And right now we have it all the way through battalion, but we want to try to create that for all ranks, all the way throughout, even if I want to be a boat pilot or helicopter pilot. So everything.
Good. I mean, I think it's important, and I think we definitely have to take an active role in going in and, pulling people up, making sure that they are getting into these positions instead of self-selecting and, wherever they're, for whatever reason they're self-selecting. We just want to make sure that we have some Latino fire pilots, and we have female fire pilots and whatnot. It would be, and mates, first mates. So I know my brother is a ship captain, and his 2 study partners were female. So they became the first pilots in their respective ports. So it was pretty great seeing that. So thank you, but it does take a lot of work. So I look forward to seeing what the department is. I mean, yes.
Very
meeting
good.
with the stakeholder groups.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
No, I know.
Chief, next time when we have you'll provide us with a written report on this.
Yes, ma'am. We'll look
sometime soon.
We'll look at the schedule.
I would like actually, all right, give me more directions on where to find it on the website. because since the deadline for the vendors is September 1st, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'd like to look at it a little before. So I will talk about how to get to that on the website. I thank you for the report verbally, but I would like to see it in writing because it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. And I was trying to take notes. I really, but if it's in writing, it would be better. Are there any other comments from any of the other Commissioner Ibarra?
So thanks for the report. It's always good to hear about all the training and educational opportunities that the department has. I'm actually just want to state something for the record, because every time that we talk about increasing educational requirements, I kind of need to say this, is that I do feel like because when people come into our department, there's underlying educational disparities that manifest in a racial way. So this is just well known, this is established. So I always need to say this for the record when people bring this up. It was one of Andrew Glazer's top things, is he wanted to increase the educational requirements even coming into the department. I'm always going to oppose that. I'm always going to say for the record that that's going to have a disparate impact on African Americans and on Latinos, men and women. And it's going to help, white guys, it's going to help white women. So I'm always going to oppose that. And once you impose those requirements to promote to assistant chiefs, to battalion chief, you're just playing into like the underlying disparities that already exist, and they need to make up for it in order to promote. And so I'm always going to oppose it. But I love the fact that what we do is we give them an opportunity to get more education while they're in the department and to get more training, and that we support that. I think that's fantastic. Thanks to the department for doing that. So I'm always going to support it, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
I do have a quick question, just kind of following up on that. And again,
okay, Commissioner Babcock.
Thank you. Being new here again, does military service play any role in a firefighter getting credit for that time? Is it considered? I know it's not technically education, but if someone has served in the armed forces for the minimum 4 years, I know, but even beyond that, I mean, I know there's quite a bit of technical leadership training that goes into that. How does LAFD consider military training?
Yes, ma'am. Good question. And yes, it also helps them in just the recruitment efforts is to get on the job. It helps them within getting in. And then in 2012, we also went through the process to ensure that any military member could actually collect their GI Bill as they're going through the training academy as well.
Oh,
because that's part of the
really
training.
good.
It's something that they could actually collect. So it helps them. It also helps them with all the technical skills, especially depending on what branch and everything that they've been involved in, helps them with the mechanical aptitudes that they're working through. But it does help them. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
I also want to state for the record that the last time the educational requirements came to commission, the Stentorians, the African American Firefighters Employee Organization, as well as the LA Women in the Fire Service Employee Organization, supported the education requirements for chief officers.
And I opposed it.
I think that we need to have a report done on, I don't know how far back we could go to see the educational requirements that the people bring to the department in some way that we could look at to see how many come with degrees, how many come with high school only or GEDs, and break it down gender and ethnically. I think that would be a great report for us to look at, especially as we continue to talk about increasing the educational requirements, which I supported, which I think I opposed the first time I support. I didn't oppose it because of the education requirements, but anyway, it's a long story.
I think
but I think that we should, it would be good to look at that to see exactly who we are hiring.
I
on
could,
paper.
I could include that in the written report when I come back for, if you want to go for that same 8-year period.
Yeah, that would be great.
Education that's come in. We collect all of that.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
I mean,
And even to add the military service, so we know who had the military service. And because one of the things that I've always wanted to add was the explorers to get credit for their work in the fire stations, because some of them work for 8 years or 10 years before they take the test to become a firefighter, and they're probably pretty good at what they do by the time they get ready to take the test. But it would be good to see even how many of them had an interest in firefighting as a youth. Okay, very good. Let's move back to the agenda item.
I mean, it just to carry on with this conversation, I mean, it might also just reflect some of the internal biases that we have towards people who have more college education. And so I'm, you know, if we really care about increasing diversity, we would make it so that more people can come on with, you know, and not give certain people like this benefit of like, because, you know, you went to, and look, you know, I have a JD, so I'm all for college education. I just don't think it's necessarily fair to African American men and to Latino men and to Latino women and African American men if we're giving people who, you know, if your parents paid for your 4-year college education and you apply to be an LAFD firefighter, you know, good for you. You know, but if you have to spend like 8 years in community college to get your AA, and you have to like commute to work on the bus, it's just going to be harder for you. So, you know, I understand. I want to see that report about what educational requirements people come in with, but let's be realistic that there might be other, you know, and we're being honest about the internal biases that exist in the department, because this is the department we inherited. You know, it's existed for 120, 30 years. So I just, you know, let's be realistic about what we're asking here. But I'm happy. I think it's a good idea to have the report. I just want us to be clear-eyed about who lives in this city and what educational opportunities they have.
Absolutely. And
I'm always so happy to promote our department because of the fact that you only need a high school diploma or GED to become a firefighter, and you make a very livable wage. So I think that that's wonderful. I would never, ever want to see that change, because
Absolutely.
I think that is the way to go. What I want to do is to see more people coming out of high school prepared to begin to work toward being a firefighter. And get their EMT training, certification, and all those kinds of things. But I love talking about the fact, and many people don't realize that a firefighter only needs a high school diploma or a GED. They go, what? And that's really a surprise to many people.
But we give preferences to people who have college degrees. So, you know, I mean, that to me is a class preference. I get it. I mean, I went to Stanford, so look, I'm not anti-education, but I do know that.
I understand what you're saying, but yeah. I was just saying that I really love having to be able to promote the department, because we only need.
We give class preference to people who didn't have to struggle to get a BA.
So I agree actually with this conversation, and certainly for entry-level firefighters as well. I think that one of the programs that Commissioner Glazier had really pushed for was the Train to Hire program, where we get residents from the city who go through the, fire academy, then they become cadets, and they can, work on crew 3, or they can go and become a third on a rescue for a Train to Hire. And then you can, but he also pushed to make sure that you had an EMT when you graduated the magnet programs, so that you had, a profession to go into while you're applying to become an LAFD firefighter. So you have a livable wage, which I think is excellent. I do want to point out, you get an education stipend. Am I wrong, Chief Hassan? Is there an education stipend?
No, ma'am. For chief officers, there is, but not for members below chief officers. But the members below chief officers get an educational bonus up to 3% once
Okay.
they complete their degree.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So there is no educational, that maybe that is something that we could look into, because I think it would be good to help lift up if our firefighters want to, go to college and need some assistance, or, USC is not inexpensive. So, and for chief officers, because, your wages are higher, of course, but you also have that stipend. It'd be really great to see if we could try and implement a stipend for firefighters as well. I think that would be really important, so they can help them, like to Commissioner Ibarra's point, that making sure that everybody has access,
Okay.
So if you're coming
Commissioner,
in.
Commissioner Ninberg, I don't want to cut you off, but that sounds like a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we
back
can.
to the agenda item on the department, on the LAFD Training Institute and Public Safety University. Are there any other comments on that particular item?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing none, let's move to a thank you very much, Chief Hassan. And we look forward to hearing from you again. And with the written report. Okay, very good. Is there a motion? Oh, there's no need for a motion because it's just a verbal report. And then we move to item C, which is another verbal report. Chief Gutierrez is doing that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam President, Vice President Hara. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome, Commissioner Babcock and all commissioners. Good morning, Acting Chief Poyer, Acting Fire Chief, as well as City Attorney. Stephen Gutierrez, Commander of Training Support Bureau, give a verbal update on the organization and training assessment conducted by Deloitte LLC. As we're all aware, we began this endeavor some time ago. After several challenges, we've now excited to initiate the organization and training assessment conducted by Deloitte. The goal is to conduct a workplace assessment based on transparency involving all department members, both sworn and civilian, to develop the tools and resources to guide the organization in a positive direction in all actions. The belief is the assessment will build on past successes and anticipate ways to capitalize on the future. In terms of the current status, we began a kickoff on August 2nd of this year, just a matter of a couple of weeks ago, with Deloitte, department administration, and all involved department stakeholders, to include United Firefighters Los Angeles, Chief Officers Association, Los Angeles Women in the Fire Service, Tentorians, Los Bomberos, where Deloitte Consulting developed or presented an overview, which is a 4-phase approach. Phase 1 being to initiate, phase 2 to collect, phase 3 assess, and phase 4 to design and recommend. At the same time, Deloitte requested several documents from the department, these being guidance documents, policies, and other documents, a total of 18 areas, in order to mine the data and review and analyze to determine the current state of the department, as well as gaps in information that currently exist. We are currently in the process, still in phase 1, a little bit in phase 2, where they're establishing a project plan. The plan will be comprised of a number of initiatives to understand the environment and define the strategy. All department stakeholders will participate within the process to gather a holistic and comprehensive view, understand the current state, maintain anonymity, identify perspectives, feelings, opinions, and experiences of different demographics within the workforce, enable a deeper understanding of employee life cycle trends in the LAFD organization, including barriers and enablers, identify opportunities for advancing and workforce experiencing, mitigating for biases, and informing the future state strategy. This will consist of a series of surveys, interviews, and focus groups to understand the people, the organization, the well-being, the work, the learning environment, and technology. Within these surveys and focus groups, some of the categories are meaningful work, growth opportunities, supportive management, trust and leadership, positive work environment, and of course, collaboration. The current timeline that exists with Deloitte, it's rather aggressive. The preliminary estimates to review, interview, focus groups, and survey findings is for late October, and sharing a roadmap for implementation with all stakeholders and department administration by December 1. I personally believe the assessment will provide a meaningful and important impact to the organization's future. That concludes my verbal update. Available for any questions at this time.
Are there any questions or concerns from the commissioners?
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Nimber.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chief Gutierrez. I would actually, once again, all these verbal reports, they're just difficult to follow because it's all information, it's all new. I think I would definitely prefer a written report if we could get that so that we understand exactly what the lay of the land is for this, because this came about from a strategic planning session in 2017, was trying to get this workplace study done and directed by the women. And I want to know how many, so on your workplace group, how many firefighters are there?
The current, and you know the history behind this. In the current vetting of all the bidders, all stakeholders had a seat at the table. I don't know the approximate number of representatives, but every stakeholder, including department administration. That same group is also meeting with Deloitte as well as they start to unfold some of the underlying things they're going to be doing. This has only been one meeting thus far, August 2nd. They're still in the process of mining a lot of the data. And there's another meeting set for this Thursday of this week to go further and to lay out their timeline and also look at some of the things they'll be doing in terms of the surveys where the department will, or the entire department will be surveyed, all members, both civilian and sworn. And then how they're going to establish the individual focus groups as well as interview groups. So we're still really at the very, very beginning stages, but to answer your question, the same group of folks that were all together collectively that had a say in the selection of Deloitte are still at the table through this process.
So do you have, so I asked in May if we could get the gender and racial makeup of those in this group and their status, or their, if they're a firefighter, chief officer, if they're a civilian, whatnot. That I'd like to know because that matters as we talk about with all of these issues that have been coming up, making sure, you know, if you only have one Black firefighter or two, I don't know how many, I don't know, or if you only have one woman firefighter, you know, and there's, you know, the majority male firefighters, and if these groups that have, you know, disproportionately, if you can look at, I think it was 53% of all lawsuits come from women. So if there was, where's that statistic? But it's a high number. Same with African Americans. I think that we should make sure that there's a lens that we have appropriate numbers of people at the table who are able to help direct and know what to look for. So if we could get that, that'd be great.
Yes, ma'am, I could provide that in a written report. Understanding that the surveys, Deloitte is looking at the entire organization, and they're looking at each and every demographic of every position, every rank of every member within the organization, both gender and ethnicity, as they do this cross-sectional comparison of listening and comparing to what we currently have in terms of, let's say, guidance documents and what's not available. What I did is kind of just overlay some of the things and some of the areas they're going to be looking at, but specifically to your question, I could identify that, and that particular group that has helped not only vet the bidders, but also provided some of the steering along the way. Yes, ma'am.
Right. And I think Jimmy, Commission President Woods Gray, are you on that group?
Yes, I am.
You are. Good. Excellent.
We'll meet on Thursday. Chief Gutierrez, one of the groups that I couldn't identify on the panel of people that are meeting, who represents the civilian employees?
You know, that's a good question. Right now, I've brought in the analyst from my office, but I think that may be a gap that you identified, Madam President, that we will fill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Ibarra.
Thanks. I just want some clarification on that number. About 50% of litigation is from women. Is that from our department? Because I've never heard that before.
It was in one of the newspaper articles, so I have to go back and clarify.
Okay, because I can't think of one in the time that we've been here, 8 years, that was initiated by a woman.
I think it was one of the audits. Sorry.
Okay, it could have been from Laura Chick when she did it.
Could have been.
Which would be almost 10 years ago. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to ask the department to give us an update on the pending litigation. Okay.
Yeah, I know, and we just settled.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We just settled what?
The one with the African American firefighter.
Oh yeah, they lost their race claims. So what they settled, I don't know, because they lost the race claims last year. They looked at it. Yeah, so they don't have race claims, race discrimination claims. So I'm not sure what they settled. But we should get an update on that.
Yeah, that would be great if we could get an update on the lawsuits.
I support that also. That's very good. Good suggestion, Commissioner Ibarra. Okay, very good. Are there other comments from other commissioners? So next time, Chief Gutierrez, you give us an update, you'll give us an update that's in writing so the commissioners have more to look at?
Yes, ma'am.
I have one last comment.
And then check on the civilian person.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Ibarra, did you?
Yeah, I just have one last comment because we had some public comments earlier, and so they're not at the end, they're at the beginning, and it relates to this issue because, we had very impassioned comments from people on some of the issues that are, that have been reported in the newspaper. And somebody made a reference to Chief Terrazas, Freddy Escobar, and city leaders, which I think includes us, being sexual abusers and responding like sexual abusers do. And I found that really troubling and, defamatory. First Amendment is whatever the First Amendment is, but you're threading really close when you're calling us sexual abusers, myself included. Like being called a sexual abuser is not something that I think is appropriate. And it's also factually incorrect and false. And I did not appreciate that. And I also think that if we want to elevate the discussion, we shouldn't be calling people sexual abusers.
Okay, Chief Gutierrez, do you have other things to add?
No, ma'am, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Is there another comment from a commissioner? No? Okay, so then thank you very much, Chief Gutierrez. And this will be a project that we can't wait to see the finality of, to see exactly what they come up with. Thank you very much. Now, that's the last item on our agenda. And in closing, I want to report that on September the 7th, we will not have a commission meeting because that is a holiday. The city council will be on recess and we will not have a meeting on September 7th. The next meeting will be the third Tuesday in September, which I believe is the 17th, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me.
The 21st.
But it is the third. Oh, it's the 21st. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But it is the third Tuesday, always.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Are there any other comments? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn meeting.
Second.
Okay, second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. Do we need a roll call on that, Madam City Attorney?
It'd be best just to get a roll call to be consistent.
Okay, Ms. Gomez, can we have a roll call, please?
Woods Gray,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Para,
Yes.
Ibarra,
Yes.
and Ninberg.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
Thank you very much, commissioners, and all of you be safe out there, especially to our firefighters in the field with all of these new variants and viruses going on. Please be safe and take care of yourselves. And thank you, Ms. Gomez, for all the work that you do to help us run this meeting.
Welcome.
And with that, goodbye.
Thank
See
you.
you guys in 2
Bye.
weeks.
Have a great day.